So students, we are going to discuss about the topic land degradation and conservation measures. Okay. Here we are going to focus on the different causes of land degradation in our country, as well as we will be discussing about the various conservation measures which can be followed, okay, to reduce land degradation or to conserve the land resources of our country. So as we know that the land resources of our country is utilized for different purpose. We are utilizing the land for agricultural purpose. The land is being utilized for human housing, for construction purpose, for development, various infrastructural development, for industries, for roads, transport, okay, for plantations, different purpose. Okay, the land is utilized for many different purposes actually. Okay, and these land resources are very much vital for the development of the human society, because on this land resources only the entire economy depends, okay, directly or indirectly. We are dependent, our economic condition is dependent on this land resources. So it is very much important to conserve this land. Okay, it is very much important to maintain the land resources actually, so that the land can be utilized in a proper way and we can get the maximum benefit from the limited land resources. Okay, because the land resources are limited in our country. We cannot stretch the area of our country and make like increase the land resources. Okay, so it is confined, it is limited actually. So this limited land resources needs to be utilized properly actually. Okay, because there are many cases which are coming nowadays, like we can see the like decrease in the fertility of the soil. Okay, the soil becomes unutilizable. Many of the land gets degraded because of soil erosion and all. So these are the different like out means you can say outcomes of land degradation actually, which needs to be solved, which needs to be sorted out actually. Okay, so for that, first of all, we must know or we must be aware about the causes of the land degradation, so that according to the causes we can find out the like conservation techniques and all, okay, to mitigate these problems of land degradation. So see, so like we the people of India, like our civilization is one of the ancient civilization in the world. Okay, so the land resources of our country, it has been used by our like by the past generation, by our forefathers and all. Okay, not like from the very ancient times only, the land resources of our country is being utilized for different purposes. Okay, so we have shared our land with the past generation and will do so with the future generations too. So these land resources, which are limited actually, okay, this land resources has been utilized by our past generation. That means by our forefathers and all. And the same land resources we are utilizing to meet our demands, and our future generations are also going to utilize the same land resources. Okay, so it is very much essential to use the land resources in a proper way actually. Okay, so that the land resources can be conserved. About 95% of our basic needs, they come for, okay, 95% of our basic needs, like the need for food, the need for shelter, the need for clothing, etc., it like we get it from the land resources. Okay, so the land resources is very much vital for the human society, for the human economy, as well as for the overall development of the human life. And we human beings, our like activities actually have brought about a lot of changes, especially the negative changes actually. Okay, so our activities, the human activities, has caused many negative changes on these land resources actually. Okay, so human activities have not only brought about degradation of the land, but have also aggravated the pace of the natural force to cause damage to the land. Okay, so the activities of the human beings, it has caused land degradation to a large extent. Okay, and not only this, but the natural forces, okay, the pace of the natural force has increased. Okay, the pace of the natural force has also aggravated. Okay, and which in turn is causing damage to the land resources. Like soil erosion, just take an example of soil erosion. Soil erosion is a natural phenomena, but because of the human activities, the rate of soil erosion has increased manifold times, and which is causing degradation of the land actually. Okay, so human activities directly, as well as human activities directly, has caused degradation of the land to a large extent. Okay, and there are many causes. Okay, we have caused land degradation in different ways actually, and some of the ways or some of the causes of land degradation are as follows. So some of the human activities which are mainly responsible for land degradation are deforestation. Deforestation is one of the main cause of land degradation. Okay, not only deforestation, but overgrazing, the mining activities and the quarrying activities are also responsible for land degradation, especially in our country, India. Because in our country, we see that a lot of deforestation has taken place. Many people who are dependent on rearing of the animals and all, okay, like so because of this domestic animals and all, overgrazing is taking place, which causes land degradation. Mining activities and quarrying is also responsible for land degradation. Now how this deforestation, overgrazing, the mining and the quarrying activities are causing land degradation actually? See, basically, the mining sites are abandoned after excavation work is complete, having leaving deep scars and traces of overburdening. Okay, so basically, the areas where mining activities are carried out, what we do actually? Okay, like the people they extract. Okay, like they dig out the tunnels and all. They go beneath the earth. Okay, they dig out the tunnels and all, and they go in the interior of the earth, and they extract the minerals and all. So after extracting of the minerals and all, the caves which are being formed, okay, are because of this mining activity, and they are left abandoned and all. So because of which land degradation takes place. Okay, the land becomes very much fragile. Collapse of the roof mine takes place. Okay, the entire land resource of that place actually gets destroyed actually. Okay, so this is how the mining activities actually is mainly responsible for land degradation. Okay, in some of the states like Chota Nagpur Plateau regions, okay, in some of the states like Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, some states of like some of the places of Karnataka, Odisha, and all. Even deforestation. Deforestation means cutting down the trees. Okay, so we human beings has cut down our forest from the very ancient time. Okay, like we are cutting down the trees. Okay, for making houses, for construction of the industries. Okay, for urbanization, we are cutting down the trees or deforesting the forest and all. Okay, for agricultural purpose and all. So this is also a reason actually that land degradation has taken place, because the trees are the one which bind, which holds the soil tightly. Okay, but if the trees are not, if the trees are being cut down, what will happen? The soil will become very loose, it will become very fragile, and there are causes that landslide may take place. There are causes that land soil erosion may take place actually, and in ultimately it will cause degradation of the land. Okay, even mining activities plus land degradation, mining activities plus deforestation has caused a huge, like immense destruction. Okay, immense destruction uh, of the land resources actually. Like the forested areas, okay, in the forested areas of Chhattisgarh, in the forested areas of Jharkhand and all, there are many areas where mineral reserves are found, mineral resources are found. So in order to extract those mineral resources, first of all, the land has to be cleared. That means deforestation has to be done. So the people who are engaged in this mining activity, they first cut down the trees, and then they carry out the mining activities and all. So what is happening in this region is that the land resources is getting depleted. It is causing degraded to a more large extent because of deforestation and then subsequent mining activity. In the states like Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and Maharashtra, overgrazing is one of the main reasons for the land degradation. Like in the states of Rajasthan, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, and Maharashtra, okay, here what happens, like some of the people, they are engaged in animal rearing and all. So they leave their animals, okay, the domestic animals, okay, they leave those domestic animals and they are left, okay, free to graze on the open fields and all. So these animals, they feed on the grasses, okay, or the whatever, like whatever grasses and the other plants and all which are there on the ground, on the soil actually. So they eat away the grasses. Okay, so what they do is after eating away the grasses, when the grasses are like only the roots of the grasses are living, the animals they feed on that also. So what is happening is that the land gets exposed to the sunlight, to the rainwater, and to the wind, and ultimately the chances of soil erosion because of the wind and the water rainfall increases and causes land degradation. Okay, so this is how the deforestation, okay, this is how various human activities such as deforestation, overgrazing, mining, and the quarrying activities are mainly responsible for land degradation in different parts of our country. Okay, so in different parts of our country, land degradation takes place because of different factors. Like in the Chota Nagpur Plateau region, in the state of Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Okay, even in the Deccan Plateau region, in some of the places of Karnataka, okay, and all, mining activity is mainly responsible for land degradation. Again, if you see the northeastern states and all, okay, like deforestation has caused a lot of land degradation. In the Himalayan states of Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand, deforestation is one of the main reasons for land degradation. Okay, and as you read here that Gujarat, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, and Madhya Pradesh, these are the states where overgrazing is mainly responsible for land degradation. Okay, but apart from this, there are also other factors which are responsible for land degradation in the states of Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh, and all. Okay, so let us go through those points actually. In the states of Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh, over irrigation is responsible for land degradation due to water logging, leading to increase in salinity and alkalinity in the soil. So basically, in the states of Punjab, Haryana, and the western part of Uttar Pradesh, we know that these are the states which are agriculturally very much developed. Means a lot of agricultural production, okay, comes from these states, Punjab, Haryana, and the western Uttar Pradesh. But in this state, the rate of land degradation is increasing at a very faster rate. There are two different causes. One is over irrigation, and another one is the overutilization of the chemical fertilizers. Okay, so how the over irrigation and overutilization of the chemical fertilizer is causing land degradation? Let us know. See, basically, the soil they has its limit of absorbing the water. Every types of soil they has its certain limit of absorbing the water. So if we supply excess amount of water, what will happen? The soil they cannot absorb the extra water, and there will be excess amount of water, okay, deposits in the soil. So what will happen when excess amount of water will get deposited? The soil will be swampy. It will turn out to be a marshy area. Okay, and the productivity of the soil will reduce actually. So the same thing is happening in the state of Punjab, Haryana, and the western Uttar Pradesh actually. Here the farmers they are taking help of the irrigation facilities, basically the canal irrigation facilities and all. Okay, and how much water is required for the crops to grow, they supply more water actually. Okay, they supply more water than the amount which is required actually. So ultimately, supplying excessive amount of water continuously for many years and all has caused land degradation, because the water logging has taken place actually. Okay, and because of this water logging actually the land has got degraded. Okay, because the water also contains some amount of salt. Okay, so if excess amount of water is being provided to the soil, what will happen? The salt content which is there in the water will also increase. So ultimately the salinity and the alkalinity of the soil will increase. That is, the pH value of the soil will increase, and which will reduce the fertility of the soil. So reduction in the fertility of the soil is land degradation. Overutilization of the chemical fertilizers and HYV seeds actually. Okay, like now at present we can see most of the farming activities in our country is carried out with the help of the chemical fertilizers and all. The farmers they use maximum amount of chemical fertilizers to get more productivity. But for the long run, this chemical fertilizers is causing degradation of the land actually. Okay, so in many parts of our country, like especially in the state, Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh, even in Bihar, West Bengal, in Assam also, this excessive use of the chemical fertilizer has caused a lot of land degradation. Okay, the next, industries. Industries are also responsible for land degradation, especially the chemical industries, the ceramic industries, and all. How do they cause land degradation? The mineral processing, like the grinding of the limestone for the cement industry and calcite and soapstone for ceramic industry, they generate huge quantity of dust in the atmosphere. So basically the mineral processing industries, okay, like the cement industry, just take an example of the cement industry. In the cement industry, the limestone is being grinded, okay, means it is converted into powder to make the cement. So during the process of grinding of this limestone, what happens? The dust gets emitted in the atmosphere, and later on this dust particles of the limestone and all, they settle on the soil, surrounding areas on the soil and all. So when they settle on the soil, okay, the water absorbing capacity of the soil reduces, because okay, means this limestone when they get mixed up with the soil, they form a very thin layer on the topmost layer of the soil. So because of which the water absorbing capacity reduces, and when some amount of water gets absorbed, they percolate. Okay, some amount of this limestone they gets melted and they percolate underground. Okay, and which is causing land degradation. As well as when this water, it reaches the underground water table actually, okay, it also causes degradation of the underground water table. Okay, so this is how the mineral processing industries like the cement industry, the ceramic industries and all, okay, they cause land degradation in and around their surrounding areas. Not only this, but there are also many other industries actually who throw their waste materials, who throw their waste products in the surrounding land areas. Okay, so these land areas, they get degraded actually because this industrial waste, they contains various kinds of poisonous chemicals and all. Okay, so when these poisonous chemicals they mix up with the soil, it causes land degradation. Okay, not only this, when water falls on it, actually rainfall takes place on these waste products and all, the chemicals from these waste products, they melt, they reach the underground water table and causes pollution of the water as well. Okay, so the human activities, you can see here, almost all the human activities are responsible for land degradation. Okay, starting from deforestation to the industries, every human activities is directly or indirectly responsible for land degradation. Okay, so it does not mean that we human beings will stop doing anything for our development. It's not that actually. We will continue our developmental process, but it should be done in a proper way, in a proper planned way, so that minimum degradation of the land takes place. Okay. So this is what about the different causes of land degradation. So next we are going to discuss about the uh, land conservation techniques, the measures which can be followed to conserve the land resources of our country. Land conservation measures. Okay, so now we have came to know about the problems of land degradation. That means the causes of land degradation. So according to the cause, we need to frame our strategy. Okay, we need to frame the conservation measures and all. Okay, so various conservation techniques can be adopted or measures can be followed to reduce land degradation actually. Okay, to limit land degradation means we cannot say that we can stop land degradation, but to a large extent the land degradation can be reduced actually. Okay, and in many cases the land degradation can be stopped actually. See, there are many ways to solve the problems of land degradation. Okay, so there are various ways to sort out the problems of land degradation, like afforestation and the proper management of grazing can help to some extent. Okay, so planting of more number of trees in the forested areas and in the mining areas can help in reducing land degradation. Not only this, but the proper management of the grazing can also help in land degradation, because when we leave the domestic animals free to graze, actually what we can do is like we can divide like land into different parcels. Like today if the animals are grazing on this plot of land, next day they will be set free on another plot of land to graze. So the first plot of land where they have grazed already, actually if it is left behind for 10 to 15 days, what will happen? A new grasses will come. Okay, so they can again go back to the first plot of land after a few days to feed on it. Okay, so like this way the problem of overgrazing can be sorted out, and which will help in reducing land degradation. Okay, like in the forested area we have seen a lot of forest has been deforested actually. Okay, and in the forested area a lot of soil erosion, landslides are taking place actually. So afforestation is the like main measure which can be followed actually to conserve the land resources. In the desert areas, land degradation is another important like problem actually, because in the desert areas, okay, like some amount of fertile soils are available. Okay, means the soil is not so much fertile, but at least fertile to grow some types of crops actually. But those land also gets degraded because of this shifting of the sand dunes. Means when the wind blows at a very faster rate, they carry away the sands, and the sands get deposited in this some fertile, semi-fertile soils and all. Okay, and the soil becomes unsuitable. So what can be done is that planting of the shelter belts can be done. So the areas where the farmers they are growing the crops, some amount of crops they grow actually along that areas, they can plant the trees and all. Okay, so that the speed of the wind can be obstructed, and the soil, uh, okay, the sand actually which blows along with the wind, okay, they cannot reach those parts. Okay, even in the areas where the sand dunes are present, actually in those areas the thorny bushes, the cactus plants and all, they can be grown actually planted, so that the speed of the wind can be like lowered down. Okay, means when the wind will blow, actually they will get obstructed by these thorny bushes and all. Okay, so what will happen when the speed will reduce, the carrying capacity of the wind, okay, the soil will not be carried to a large extent, and the shifting of the sand dunes will not take place. Okay, so if the sand dunes does not shift from one place to another, what will happen? Land degradation can be controlled to a very large extent in the desert areas. Proper management of the wasteland, control of mining activities, proper discharge and the disposal of the industrial effluents and waste after treatment can reduce land and water degradation in industrial and in the suburban areas. So basically in the industrial areas and in the urban and the suburban areas, okay, if like mining activities are being controlled, the industrial waste before discharge, okay, before discharging the industrial waste into the water or in the land surface and all, if it is being treated properly and all, okay, so what will happen? Like land degradation can be reduced to a large extent actually. Now you can see every day we are throwing the garbages and all, okay, and the waste water from our houses goes actually. So if this wastewater are being like treated by the municipality or the municipal corporation and all before discharging it in the river or before dumping it in the ground and all, what will happen? The land degradation can be the problem of land degradation can be shot out to some extent actually. Okay, so this is what about the different techniques actually. Okay, this is what about the different techniques which can be followed to conserve the land resource, land degradation. Okay, not only this, but the main thing is people's awareness. Okay, these are the different measures which can be followed, but people's awareness is very much essential, because if the people are not aware about the consequences of this land degradation, so they are not going to follow these steps. Okay, so first of all, we must make the people aware, and we must make the people participate in this kinds of programs, okay, like afforestation programs and all, okay, so that they can understand the importance of the land resources and they can work with the NGOs, with the government, they can help the government to sort out these problems of land resource, land degradation actually. So is it clear, students?